that never fails to amaze me. It looks like this scrambled TV or something until I press the record button, and it's kind of clear. But anyway, this is the Godfather. I'm still on season. I'm sorry, Godfather of Harlem. Still season 1. It's episode 6 now. Feels like it's been so long since I've watched this series, but it hasn't been that long. So the main character, played by Forrest Whitaker, is still in a bit of a situation here. He owes one mob boss $300,000, and I like how everything's settled with a sit down. So he has to sit down with that mob boss, and that mob boss happens to be born with the same mob boss that he's born with. Don't want to get too confusing here. So now he has to pay that debt back. I mean, they've settled pretty much everything else, but they have to pay that debt back. So they say, hey, why don't you kill this person? He tries, unsuccessful. Okay. Then he gets another chance to kill somebody. But it's somebody that it's a friend of his in the show. They didn't really do it didn't necessarily do a great job of building the friendship up, but you know that the friendship exists, if that makes any sense. So Bumpy, he goes and that's what I was hoping. I was hoping that he would go and at least talk to him before he. I think he favors a straight razor, but he still had a revolver in this instant. So I'm like, hopefully talk to him for a second. He talked to him, and he's an old school gangster. This breed of individual does not exist anymore. He's like, if you snitch, you snitch. No matter how long I know you, you got to go. So after they had that conversation, he dispatches this friend of his one to the head real quick. Now, once that's over with, he goes back to a diner of his, well, not of his, but diner he frequents and eats. And that congressman comes in there just to rub it in his face, the fact that we've got somebody who's willing to testify about you and all these other individuals that are involved in this organized crime. And, hey, this is what you get for just messing with me. And, Pumpy gets a laugh out of it. But before that, he was like, man, you need to just leave me alone right now. I'm not in the mood. But, he gets a kick out of that. But let me go back to the beginning of the story at least, because I'm getting a little bit too far ahead of myself. So what else is going on in here? So you've got a play with Malcolm X, and you've got the two lovebirds in this episode as well. Now what else happened in this episode? Oh, and also, at times I've been a little upset. Well, not upset, just a little irritated about the interaction between Bumpy and his wife. But now that I think about it, I'm looking at it, at least in this episode, I'm like, I kind of understand it. She's such a strong influence on him as far as decisions in business and life in general. I mean, she's more than an attractive woman. She's a true companion, somebody who is there to uplift him just as he's there to uplift her. And they work together in such unison. They talk about everything. That, I think, is one of the more positive aspects of this show. I enjoy watching that. Not necessarily, it's not a power struggle. It's clearly not a power struggle. It's a brainstorming event every time they have a conversation, for the most part. Now there is instances where she asserts her will, and there's instances where he asserts his will. But for the most part, it seems to be a true partnership, and I don't think I've seen that in anywhere else in TV. But of course, I haven't. I consider this TV. Of course I haven't seen every show that's ever been made, but it's just interesting to see two characters that are married interact with one another in such a way where everything is a discussion almost. It's because what affects one of them affects the other, so that makes perfect sense, and they clearly understand that. It's such a great dynamic. Let's see what else. Now let's see what else here. Got a notification. I was talking about the Lovebirds and the Malcolm X. I guess I'll do Malcolm X last. So the Lovebirds, their story is still lingering or festering on. I mean, at what point? At what point is enough? What point is enough enough when it's when in, when you're taking into consideration these two characters? But the reality is, you know, the main character is at war with this mob boss, and his daughter just happens to have jungle fever, I guess. But you know, I could go. That's a long-winded conversation. I can go on and on about that. You know, you can't really help who you fall in love with. You know, you see somebody, you're physically attracted to them, and then once you get to know them, you basically that's where the sweep me off my feet type stuff comes from. I feel like that's a personal thing. I feel like that. But anyway, they're still going strong and trying to keep each other alive because I mean, her father is he's relentless. He wants that dude dead. And it's like, man, I don't see what the big deal is. Like, he's literally done nothing wrong. Literally done nothing wrong other than he's a different color than her. Can you wrap your head around that? It's like, the only thing that's wrong in her father's eyes is that this young man is a different color. That's it. That's it. He doesn't beat her. He doesn't talk to her bad. He's not taking money from her. He's not trying to pimp her out. Nothing. He's just a different color. The insanity of that is beyond me. I guess that's the only thing I'm taking away from that relationship. But I guess towards the end of this episode, she's coming to Bumpy for help because seems like he's the last person she can turn to in this situation, which, hey, it is what it is. Of course, I'm interested to see how that plays out. Who knows where that's gonna go? Let me see here. I guess we talk about the Malcolm X. So his character is still. I gotta stretch my arm a little bit. His character's still kicking around. Now, they also introduced his boss, which was the guy over him, the guy who was like the head of the nation during that time. And I don't know, the way they choose to have these actors speak when they're portraying these guys I feel is kind of funny. So you see somebody. Okay, I get it. There's an overlapping theme throughout this episode of fake friendships and, I guess, for lack of a better term, snitching. So Bumpy's daughter, she's an addict, you know, but she's basically given herself to Islam, and especially under the trying to get under the wing of the Malcolm X character. And by her doing so, she has to be at the right place at the right time, at least for the Malcolm X character's boss, at least for the right time for him, right? Because he's expressing his concerns to Malcolm X about his association, using all these big words. He's concerned with Malcolm X running around with Bumpy Johnson because, you know, he's a gangster. But, you know, Malcolm X is trying to persuade him otherwise, that it's good for the nation, and, you know, he's my friend, and this, that, and the third. It's like, nah, man, nah. But then again, you have a recurring thing coming. There's something that's like a callback from a different episode. Somebody's been beating up his boss's eardrum saying, oh, Malcolm wants your position, Malcolm wants this, Malcolm don't want none of that. He's a completely obedient servant to you. He wants to serve the nation. Whatever he wants to do, it's for the nation's for you. But listening to inside and outside influences, and also letting his mind run wild, he's under the impression that Malcolm wants to steal a position from him. But I think it won't necessarily be stealing the position. If you are dead, at one point the nation will need a different leader, and Malcolm would have been the perfect choice for that, I think. But hey, I wasn't even alive during that time, so what do I know? But he calls on Bumpy's daughter. He's like, "Hey, I need you to tell me what Malcolm's doing, thinking, eating, all this. I want to know everything, basically, because he's fearful that, at least in this TV show, he's fearful that Malcolm is going to try and accelerate the process of his death, I guess, and take that position. So you've got that going on in this episode as well. Overall, I can't rate I can't rate this damn series just yet. I mean, I have to finish watching it. I'm only on the first season. I think there's not even 2 seasons available. But anyway, if you like me ranting about shows, I have other videos of Godfather of Harlem. I have The Mandalorian, which I don't like. Breaking Bad. I'm doing The Americans right now, and Futurama. Also, I've got some movies sprinkled in there as well. Go check those videos out and subscribe.